Hello, and welcome to the first of 4 videos in this advanced series of brass building blocks. My name's Band Lance Corporal Matthew Fletcher, and I'm a euphonium player with the Band of Her Majesty's Royal Marines. This first video will cover articulation and multiple tonguing. You don't need your instrument to hand, but please feel free to refer back to this video in your practice. So, articulation. Firstly, it is important to understand some of the fundamentals behind brass playing. It is a common misconception that the tongue strikes the front of the mouth to produce a note. In actual fact, the tongue falls away from behind the teeth in a retrograde motion, which allows the column of air inside the throat to pass through the lips and into the instrument. It is important to understand some of the physiology behind brass playing, as this will help us become better players. In my practice, I like to cover 4 different types of articulation: slurred articulation, the staccato articulation, legato articulation, and finally the tau articulation. The slurred articulation is one of the easiest and won't be anything new to you, but regular practice of this can help us produce the best sound possible. Things to bear in mind are creating as smooth a change as possible between each note and always thinking about the constant flow of air travelling through the instrument. The staccato articulation is a very important one. It is used in our dotted rhythms, and regular practice will help build the speed of our single tongue. Try and practice this as short as possible and with a good accent. The legato articulation is much like the slurred, but it can be used in smooth phrases where each note is re-articulated. Try to think only of the tongue as interrupting the airflow on each note. The smooth sound should still be there. The tau articulation is named so because when you say the syllable tau, your mouth almost produces the shape of the note that we want to hear. It is effectively a pear-shaped note, a nice attack and a rounded off end. This articulation sits between the staccato articulation and the legato articulation. It is useful in phrases where the notes are marked with both staccato and legato above them. The musical example I used in this video was for the purpose of demonstrating each of the 4 articulations. Please feel free to explore them further in your practice, whether that be through scales, studies, or pieces. When you are performing as a soloist or in a concert, you can be more aware of the sound you are trying to create. Something to bear in mind, perhaps, is how the listener at the back of a concert hall is going to hear your sound. You may need to use more articulation for your sound to travel further. By practicing our 4 articulations, we will have strengthened our single tongue, but something that may have been neglected is our back tongue, or the ka syllable. We can practice this in 3 simple steps. Firstly, by vocalizing. Ka, 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 ka. Then on our airstream. Finally, on the instrument. This may seem like baby steps, but it's easier to walk before we can run. You can practice this however you want, but a simple start may be just to descend chromatically. Next would be an F sharp. Ka, 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 ka. Follow the pattern down until you are consistently creating clear articulations, and then speed it up. When moving on to multiple tonguing, it is still important to give the ka syllable more attention, as it is weaker than the front of the tongue. We can practice this using our simple chromatically descending pattern we discussed earlier. You can hear that I am accenting the back of the tongue more than the front, and this is a good way to strengthen up that ka syllable. There are many great practice books which teach multiple tonguing, whether it be the Alban or the Alan Vasuti books or the Brass Gym. One thing that is important though is that your practice should be structured and deliberate. An easy way to ensure this is by using a metronome. You should keep record of speeds of your single, double and triple tonguing and try and better them each day. Well, that is the end of this first video. I hope you've been able to learn something from it. Practicing these simple steps will really improve your technique in the long run. I look forward to seeing you in video 2, where I'll be talking about scales, their importance and how to practice them. See you there.